The following program is brought to you by Naleo TV, the people's platform.
Aloha! On this episode of Polymer Play, we're going to be making a realistic hibiscus. And with this, we're going to be making some really cool ornaments. Hi, welcome to this episode of Polymer Play. I'm excited that we're going to be making this realistic hibiscus, and you're going to get to see lots of fun things we can do with it. So let's jump right into it. I'm ready to go. I've sheeted out several different colors of the red in a gradient format because I like to give the illusion of the color changing throughout the petal. So I'm going to start in the center and build up our petal. Yay! I love this hibiscus. Actually, it looks like our state flower. Trim off the side, give it a little roll. So to make these different colors, I have a big dough sheeter. It's like an industrial pasta machine, which is awesome. I actually only buy 10 colors of polymer clay, and I make all my own. It gives it a totally different look that way. Okay, so here's my center. I'm starting with a nice round shape here, and I'm going to taper this around it. So the more colors that you blend as you work your way out, the more gradual the transition will be. I'm doing 4 different ones today. And then I've got a new method of feathering in the colors that I've been liking to do. Okay, so now we've got our second color. Now I'm going to go a little bit thicker, getting it soft. You know, the nice thing is when you buy your clay, if it is crumbly, they have a medium that you can mix it in with it to soften it up. So this would be a cool way to make rainbows. I've never done that. Maybe we should try it. It's a great thing is every time you build the roll, it's different than you did it the previous time. Okay. So now what I want to do is before I go into my my third color, I'm going to insert some lines into this section to give it more of a frilly gradient look. So I'm going to start by cutting the sheet, the width of the petal. Okay. I like to keep my area clean. Okay. So the nice thing is if you make a mistake in this part, you just squeeze it back together and keep going. So I'm going to go straight down the center, best I can. Always flip it over and look. I'm going to give this a little open and take the tapered sheet and wedge it into here. Let's see. Lining up the sides. Okay, so I've got it on this side and I'm happy with it on this side. So you can cut straight down. Push it back together. Now see how this is extra up here? I'm going to get rid of that because I want to try and keep it as smooth as I can going around. We'll cut straight down here. I like to really keep my edges as clean as I can so I can see what's going on inside. Okay, I'm going to continue this pattern and go straight down. I'm going to flip it over, open it up, taper my edge. Now I'm choosing to go all the way in, but you don't need to. This is just, actually I could even go down further. You can do it any way you want. And I suggest that every time you do it, you try it a little different because it makes it more fun that way. Sometimes you stumble across things that you never would have tried. Again, cut straight down. Okay. Now we've got 2. I'm going to keep going. I think I'm going to go for like 5. Open that up. Give this a taper. So the more little pieces that you insert, the more detail you get and the longer it takes. And it's up to you what you're trying to achieve. But when this is pulled down small, people are like, how'd you get that in there? Okay, go to our next one. Cut it down, flip it over. Boy, I'm nailing it today. Some days my slices are a little crooked, but today we're doing good. I hope I didn't just jinx myself. Okay, flip it over, insert it, slice it. I have one more. Oops. See, I spoke too soon. Okay. And the last one. Come down. Flip it. Slice. And insert. Okay. All right, that looks good. Okay, so, oh, I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to transition to that color, to this color. That's going to go here. What are we going to do? We're going to taper. And if you remember why we taper, it's to try and minimize the space that we're leaving open for air pockets. Okay, so hit this side. Now I could leave the petal smooth like this, which is what we did in the episode of making the plumeria. We kept it smooth. So if I stopped right here, we would get a smooth petal like that. But I like the frilly petal for the hibiscus because I feel like they have a softer, more fluid edge. So in order to get that type of a feeling, what you need to do is add some little bumps along the top. So I'm going to roll up some of this excess clay and make a long tube and slice it. This is when you can roll it because I'm trying to get it compacted together. Yay! It's so much fun. Okay, so I'm going to cut my ends, cut down the center, give it a little pull, make sure it's the right length. Then I'm going to cut right down the middle and down the middle of this one. Yay! Okay, now if they're too short, here's a good teaching moment. If they're too short, you can just pick it up and give it a little pull. Boop, boop, boop. But you have to make that sound. Boop, boop, boop. Yes, I've got all sorts of sounds here. Okay, and that one needs more booping. Boop. Okay, so now what I do is I look for the ones that are the largest and I go towards the center. And I mean, you can do as many little bumps as you want going around. I'm just going to go for 4 for sake. Okay, see this area right here? We've got a little bit of an issue. We've got some crackage. We're not going to worry about it. We're going to make sure that we've pushed it in all the way. And if it feels like if it felt like I needed to add more clay there, I would, but I'm not going to worry about it because I'm going to use this bump and just kind of go right over it. It's not going to create a problem. Okay, so now we've got our frilly bumps and we're going to add a pop color so that when you pull it down, it just sets off the whole petal from the background. Let's see. I'm going to cut, whoops, trim our edge. I love this classic hibiscus. A lot of the flowers that I do, I just have fun and make them any way I want, but this one I actually want it to look like a hibiscus, not a Barbara flower. Okay, so we're going to go around. Want to trim it on this side the same way that it is on this side. Okay, and see how I have a little bit of edge here? Like I said, I like to keep my rolls really clean so I can see what's going on. No mystery burrito. No pun intended with my favorite food. Anyhow, we'll go back and wedge these little guys in. Little wedgies. Yeah. Okay. And then I'm going to take it into a darker green, which I'm going to come up a little higher. Okay, that works. So I know that I have a big industrial dough sheeter, but when you're doing this at home, you can use a little Atlas pasta machine, and they even make a little engine that you can put on there to make it easier to get your sheets, because having a nice smooth sheet makes a really big difference. You can use a rolling pin, but it's not going to be quite as exact. And you know, sometimes it doesn't really matter. It's a flower. If these were a little bit different thicknesses, it would still turn out. Okay, so now we have this wobbly edge, which is what we're going for. Now, if I was just to roll this and pull this down, this would become smooth. So the only way to take this down but maintain the consistency is to fill in each one of these little grooves. So the best way to do that, you're going to use the same color. I've already rolled out this log. Oops. Okay. Keep a hair up. Keep an eye out for hair. We don't want hair or ants. That's horrible when you get one stuck in your clay. Okay. So now we've got this. Ooh, I broke it. That's because I'm so super strong. No, it's because the clay's brittle. Okay, so we're gonna push it into here. Cut off your edge. I'm gonna be a little more careful with my super strength and get this a little softer. I prepped the clay last night and I left the air conditioner on, so today everything was a little bit stiff. Okay, this goes in here, and one more, and then we're able to manipulate the shape because we have the basics done. All right, okay, that's looking good. I'm happy with that. I always think it's interesting that when you see all the layers as you're stacking them in, you've got these, you know, the definitive lines. And then when you pull it down, you can't see any of those lines because they all come together. I find that magical. Anyhow, okay, my table is clean and I need to push in these logs to make it more round. It's a little oval now. Now, sometimes when your roll is really stiff, it's easier to stand up and use the weight of your hands to compact the cane. And that'll get it moving. Now, this is one of the harder parts because we need to make this get this long. So this is where I might pull the kitchen trick. Okay. Once I get this smooth enough, I can add a sheet of black around it because remember I'm setting it in black. And so I always want the last color before I pull it down too far to be the final color so that you have a very smooth transition. All right. So from here, we would put a sheet of black around it and then continue the pulling. I'm going to fast forward to this because I've already done the hard work. And I'll save you the hour of watching me pull that down. Okay, once I get it down, I'm going to cut it into 5 equal petals. I've cut one first, so it makes it easier for us to figure out. Now, some people use a ruler, but I don't. I measure with my fingers. I kind of do like a bink, bink, bink to make it work. Usually works in my favor. Okay. Now that we have 5 petals, you're starting to see how the flower is going to come together. But we've got one big problem. We've got to go back and make them all petal shaped. Now, one trick when you're getting ready to make your petals petal shaped is you take this and you put it behind your knee. And that makes it the warmth makes it easier to change the shape. Okay, and however you make your first petal, all your petals need to match. So we're working our way through. See, if we would have rolled it, this line wouldn't have stayed straight. So the squeeze and the pull is where it's at. Okay, so we've got one. And then we've got our special behind the knee cane. It's funny. Sometimes people come in the gallery. We're like, oh, moving all these things out from, you stand up and they fall on the ground. You're like, whoops, but it's okay. It's all made with love, that's for sure. Okay, we're working our way through our second petal. And it's interesting when I'm teaching classes, which I've been having classes up in the gallery lately. This is one of the harder parts because however you do your first petal, you have to maintain all the petals in the same shape. I mean, you don't have to, but that's kind of what the goal is. Yeah. Yay. Oh, I think it's pretty. I like that. See, we also could have I could have built a thicker dark red and cut the second red all the way up. Maybe I'll try that next time. I find that every time I build anything, I'm like, oh, next time I want to try this. And that's the cool thing about it. That's why it's always evolving. Next year I will have done this for 40 years, which is amazing. Who would have thought just reading a book on glass beads in 1985 would make me able to be where I am today. I'm very thankful. Life is good. Okay, 2 more. The nice thing about having them shaped like this without having a center is you don't really want to add a center dot when you're doing a hibiscus. I know sometimes I do with other petals, but this one I'm trying to go realistic. And then we're going to build the pistil and the stamen. And that's interesting because there's 2 different ways you can do it. Insert it. And I'm going to show you both so that you can decide what you want to do when you're making it in your own space. Okay, and 1 more petal. And pinch this last one. We're almost there. It's like my form of meditation, getting to create things and use my hands, use my brain. It's definitely an art to it all. Okay, now, okay, we're getting closer. This one needs a little more pinching. Okay, see with this flower here, what I did was in between the 2 petals, I inserted it. The other way I can do it is I can slice through a petal, which I think I might try this time. So let's build the next part that we need to do. We'll set this aside. And we're gonna need So, oh, I almost used it all. We're going to use some of this. Okay, whenever you have a color on there that you don't want, you can always just cut it off. It wouldn't really show because I'm going to use black on either side. But, all right. Okay, we've got this, which I'm going to put in between some black. Give it a little pull. All right. Now this one, I'm going to put black on either side of it. It's going to make the green pop out a little bit more. I want it a little bit thinner, so I'm going to give it a pull. This is a good way to make your sheet a little bit smaller, or thinner, I should say, not smaller. Okay. Just pull it this way. Okay, we're gonna set this in here. We'll cut this and flip this over. Actually, I'm gonna cut the whole, I'm gonna go straight down. All right, now we need to take the yellow and the red, and we're going to make the little dots that you see up in the top between my edges. We don't need all of this. A little tube here. You can see in this yellow that I mixed it. Sometimes I like to keep blending until all of the color is one color, but sometimes I like to leave it kind of, I don't know what the term would be, groovy. Just kidding. Okay, so now we've got this, and we're gonna wrap it in the red and proceed to pull that down. Touch it, see, we can see a line where it lines up. We're going to trim that, come together. I don't want them to overlap, I want it to just come right together. So we've just got this, and from there we're going to pull that down. Oh, we're getting close, yay! Yeah, I'm gonna slice down the flower petal. I'm excited. It's gonna be cool. Okay, this one I'm rolling. I know I tell you not to roll, but this one, there's always exceptions to the rule. Okay, we get this long. Again, we're gonna clean our edges and go back. Now when you're halving it, the easiest way to half, I just go like, this. Evidently I make a lot of strange sounds when I'm doing my art. And I know that to be true because when I'm working with people, they're like, what? Oh. Okay. And there we go. Just go like that. Okay. Now what we're going to do is take these and, oh, it helps when you cut with the right side of the blade. Now we've got this. All right, from here we're going to pull this down. And then we'll take this, and since the outside color is in the black, we're also going to roll this in the black. I just did it again. Go. Okay, so now that we've got this and it's all connected, and we have this, I'm gonna pick the fluffiest petal, which I think I'm gonna use this one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slice down the center with the blade going the right way. And I'm gonna open it up. Yeah, okay, that works. So I'm going to pinch this side in. I'm gonna insert it to the bottom. Ooh, yeah. And I'm gonna close it back up. And I'm gonna put this petal in here. And then I'm gonna go back. And you can see how that's gonna be like that. Okay. Now, since our show's only half an hour long, I'm gonna show you, normally what we would do is go back and we would fill in all this space so that we have a completely encompassed flower, which will be like this, because I wanna show you what we can do with it. Once we're here, actually I can show you with my earring too. I used one slice here, but I can also, it's the perfect colors for an ornament. Get rid of my stuff. And I like to use both plexiglass and glass for my ornaments to attach to. If we use plexiglass, we don't need any glue because they're both polymers, which is awesome. It takes away that whole aspect of epoxy, which adds a whole nother level to everything. Oh, look how it turned out. I'm so happy. But if we do glass, we need to use a clear epoxy. And this flower here would make the perfect Christmas ornament flower to add to glass. For the sake of this, I'm not going to use the glue right this second, but I'm going to show you how we could use this. If we take the flower and we take a leaf, little frond, and we can pull this down a little bit. The cool thing about the glass is you can see it on both sides, which is neat. We can take a couple of these and make them into like a little grouping. And put it down first. Maybe do a combination of like a big petal, a big flower, a smaller flower, and two little, see, like that? Now that is an awesome ornament. Oh, I love that. Possibilities are endless. You can do so many things with this flower and all of it. So stay tuned for more fun coming up on our next episode. Aloha. Have a great day. Go play with clay. Bye.